Conference. They are just underway at the Kiel Center. Illinois State is the top seed. They're still alive, but Southwest Missouri State beat them twice. We'll get you to Ron Franklin and Jimmy Dykes when you guys are done. Dave?
All right, thank you, Chris.
For the Bears with that next automatic bid in the Missouri Valley Conference. Well, the early lead for Southwest Missouri State until the three-pointer by Dan Muller. We'll get you right out to St. Louis after this.
Still using zero to call people collect?
Hello?
Stop! It's
Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin along with Jimmy Dykes. The championship of the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. Southwest Missouri and Illinois State, who won the regular season championship. 3 on the way, and it won't go. The Redbirds are out on top 8-7. As another 3 on the way, and Watkins skies for the rebound. Can't hold on. Alt will grab it for Southwest Missouri. A little slow in getting up at the other end as Smiley has the ball tipped and will put up his own follow. No walk is called, and he's got 5.
A couple of things to keep an eye on tonight, Ron. SMS, they want to get this ball up and down that floor and play the game in the 80s if at all possible. And Illinois State, they run their sequences very well. You've got to cover them the first 3 or 4 passes. Inside to Moore. Turnaround, no good. Hansel almost tipped it right back to Moore. Illinois State, for more background on these two clubs, as Hansel walks with the ball and scores. Well, he's the most versatile guy that Kevin Stallings has on the floor. He's not outstanding in any area, but he can make plays in transition. He can hit the open shot. A very good defensive guy, a perfect fit in this system. Bender misses, but they tip it back out to Alt. Same two clubs played for the championship last year. Illinois State won at 75-72, but this year only 2 losses for the Redbirds in the conference, and both came at the hands of Southwest Missouri. That's going to go back over. Nope, he saved it. Great job of hustle right there. Pomeroy. Shot clock doesn't reset, so this thing's got to get up quick. Jamar Smiley quickly in the corner. Steve Alford wants a 20-second timeout as his ball club has fallen behind 14-7. Jimmy, one of the things, or the 2 keys in this ball game tonight, is Rico Hill, MVP in the Missouri Valley Conference. First time that an Illinois State player has ever won that. Well, this is a guy that's awfully hard to defend, and Dan Muller's a terrific 3-point shooter, so you rush out at him. He puts the ball on the floor and gets to the rim. A versatile guy, but you're exactly right. A couple of tough matches tonight. Rico Hill at 6'6". You see him with his back to us. Very difficult to stop that guy, and on the other end, Danny Moore at 6'11". His versatility is as good as I've seen this year. Once he gets the ball down low inside, and Kevin Stallings said they are extremely concerned because he just makes a hole there and you can't get it away from him. Yeah, if he's allowed to back up and get his body on you and spread out, then he has the advantage, and there you see him going to work right now on that low right block. Pomeroy got his man in the air, and the foul against Smiley. It'll be his first. Second team foul on the Illinois State. Smiley, Hansel, Muller, Hill, and Watkins. Pomeroy, all Condobinder, Stringer, and Moore. The 5 of the floor for Southwest Missouri. When you look at Fauntleroy, and he's a guy tonight, his role not only to defend, but he's got to attack the basket with a basketball, and that's what Steve Alford talked to his club about this morning, that we've beaten these guys by taking it right at them. Fauntleroy and Stringer are 2 of the guys capable of doing it off the dribble tonight. Fauntleroy, not one of the better free throw shooters on this team, because this is an excellent free throw shooting team. He's at 61%, but for the team itself, they're number 19 in the nation at 74%. So there's a break in the action. 14-8, Illinois State leads. We'll be right back. State has jumped on top of the shooting so far in this one for Southwest Missouri. 3 of 9, 33%. Illinois State, 56% at 5 of 9. You know, one of the things that the two coaches have been a little bit concerned about during this tournament. The fact that these rims here are a little bit stiff. And Kevin Stallings said today that, he didn't know if somebody could win with just shooting from the perimeter.
He made a good point. I was shooting around on him Saturday morning during the shoot-arounds, and I'm no great shooter, but I noticed it myself. And then, interesting, Doug Collins was here today, and he made the same comment that he noticed yesterday afternoon watching the games, that it's got to be pure or it's probably not going to drop here.
Because we've seen a number yesterday in the semifinals. We saw layups that were missed that just shouldn't have been and normally aren't.
Illinois State shooting 62% from the field in this tournament, so this hot shooting start kind of resembles the way they've played the last two afternoons here.
Moore has the rebound for the Bears of Southwest Missouri. Monleroy. And that's going to be Cartmill, I believe, who will pick up the foul.
Ron, his ability to do that is so important. Fauntleroy is a guy that had 18 free throw attempts in their first ball game when these guys met. And his open floor transition style is a real problem right now for Illinois State to take away.
Jamar Smiley, I beg your pardon, they called a foul on. That's 2 on him. That could be a very dangerous situation for Illinois State.
Yeah, because he triggers things on both ends of the floor for Kevin Stallings. And these guys in the white, they run their secondary break just about to perfection. There's a guy, Fauntleroy, again, getting it done off the dribble.
Hansel had fallen down, and he saw it and moved up quickly.
And look at that right there. 3 passes or fewer. Illinois State with 14 points. So their execution is on tonight.
Rob Gibbons with the tip. His first 2 of the night. And it's a 16-10 Illinois State lead. Moore left alone, and he'll can that second one tonight when he gets time to square to the hoop.
Yeah, he can flat out shoot that basketball, and Gibbons went for the gamble up top and left Danny Moore exposed, and that's one guy you got to stay at home on.
Cartmill off the mark. Sondebender comes away with the rebound, and here comes Southwest Missouri running, and it's blocked, and the follow won't go. There's one of those inside easy shots we were talking about.
Look at SMS continues to be in an attack mode from defense to offense. Look at Cartmill. I mean, there's a guy that's starting to get more minutes because of the injury to Schaefbauer earlier. He came in and blocked the layup attempt. A very athletic kid, great speed from free throw line to free throw line has Kyle Cartmill. He's a real key tonight.
Sondebender, a 74% free throw shooter. As you look at number 45, John Paul Nelson, a 7-footer out of West Fork, Arkansas, checking into the ball game. The officials in tonight's ball game, as they keep it alive, and all for 3. That's back up over the top. The referee tonight is Paul Jansen, and the 2 umpires are David Hall and John Higgins, as appointed by the Missouri Valley Conference.
Ron, here's what SMS is trying to do on defense. They're going to jam the middle. They're going to help off of guys like Hansel and Smiley, take away those inside layup looks from Watkins and Rico Hill, and force someone to hit shots from the perimeter other than Muller.
Muller almost throws it away. Hansel saved it. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Muller from three-point land, and he knocks it down. Muller shoots it at 38.5% from beyond the arc.
Well, he's got extra pressure on him because of Schaefbauer, their best three-point shooter, is out for the year with a broken leg. And not only Muller is he their best defender, he now becomes their best three-point weapon.
5th team foul, and the first foul called on Muller.
Zone out of Illinois State. Now, what that does is it take away the inside pass to Danny Moore, but you've got to make sure that you shadow Kevin Alt, number 24. Can light you up in a hurry.
Monleroy pumps. It's going to be John Paul Nelson. The foul is called on. It's his first, and the second team foul against the Bears of Southwest Missouri. Right now, the pace of this basketball game is just what Illinois State wants. Southwest Missouri wants it a little bit quicker, don't they, Jimmy?
Yeah, they do, and you see Illinois State kind of walk that ball up, and now here they go into what I call their secondary break. And they score about 70% of their offense off of the first 3 or 4 passes, and you've got to cover them. This is a well-prepared, well-scouted team, SMS coming in.
That ball is blocked and is going to come right over here by us. So there's a break in the action, a 6-point lead, Illinois State.
In Brooklyn, they're playing the Northeast Conference Championship game. Fairleigh Dickinson and Long Island U played 2 great games this season. The third one is developing here. That's Darryl Todd with the 3. FDU on the road up by 5. Yes?
19-13, Illinois State leads it. We are just under 12 minutes to play in this ball game. As you look at the fans right there from Illinois State, Jimmy, they have 11 busloads that have come down here for that 2.5-hour ride.
And look at this secondary break out of Illinois State, and this is what you have to cover. That's the second pass, passed up a decent shot, passed up another decent shot. They get 4 guys around that perimeter and let Watkins or Hill operate on the inside, and that's usually where their points come from. Look at that. Layups already, 10 points, and 9 off of jump shots.
One of the reasons they shoot such a high percentage are 7 of 14 tonight at 50%. But yesterday at a time in that ball game, they were 66%.
So high percentage looks only out of these guys, and there's another one right there.
Cartmill brings something else to the table with the injury to Schaefbauer. Not as good a shooter or defender, but boy, he can really bring speed. His all just burns it.
I mean, that's the key word. This guy can burn you quicker than a 10-cent cigar, and you've got to be on him, Ron. You can't let him separate from you defensively and have an open look.
John Paul Nelson with his second foul. That's the 3rd team foul against Southwest Missouri.
John Paul Nelson, his second, number 3 on the Bears.
Again, you watch this help defense out of SMS. Other than the guy covering Muller, they will really get in that lane area and try to take away those angle passes and the angle baskets out of Watkins and Rico Hill.
Hill. Nelson clears for Southwest Missouri, and so far Hill has been silent.
Steve Alford made no secret about it. He said, guys, if we force them to knock down jump shots, we'll win this basketball game. We take away those inside looks, we're going to the tournament.
Stringer all the way, lays it in. First 2 points for him.
Watch Stringer. I mean, this is his game offensively in a half-court set. That's all he can do. He can take you off the dribble. And Steve Alford challenged him today in the shoot-around and said, you've got to be in your attack mode tonight if we're going to win this ball game. There's a good example of attacking the basket out of Stringer.
This is Fauntleroy, who is down, the sophomore out of Gary, Indiana. He was away from the play, and it appears as though took a finger in the eye. As Condobender is coming off the bench, and he will check in, and Fauntleroy is still being attended to, and they'll take him to the bench.
I don't know if we can see it or not, but there he is, number 12, and see where he gets hit right across the face, his own player.
His own teammate got him in the eye. So Fauntleroy is being taken immediately to the dressing room, and here is a young man that has 133 assists on the year for Southwest Missouri, a major part of where the offense starts. 3-point game, Illinois State.
Ron, you watch the screening out of Illinois State. I mean, they're patient. They wait on screens. They set people up. This is a team that they understand and know their roles as good as anyone I've seen this year.
Watkins lost the handle. Plenty of time in the shot clock. It's at 10. Cartmill dishes it off, threw it away, and Bettenhausen will save it. He tries to knock it off Cartmill, and it's going to stay with Illinois State with 2 seconds on the shot clock. Now they're going to get 35.
Well, did it change possessions? And
so I guess they determined that that was a possession.
yeah.
3, 2, I beg your pardon. Had a foot on the line. It's 4 points for him.
They're going to give Hansel and Smiley that open shot tonight. Now, they won't panic. If Hansel makes a couple, they're going to stay with their plan, keep helping off on the inside.
It was Bettenhausen who penetrated and missed the layup. Nice bounce pass. Watkins will lay it in. He's got 4.
His backside, I mean, his powerful rear end area is a real factor in this ball game because he spreads out and pins you, and he gets a lot of easy layup looks like that.
Bettenhausen. 2-pointer. Tip inside by Nelson. First 2 for him.
Nobody else in this league has a 7-footer off the bench as effective as John Paul Nelson. I mean, he's going to get you 4 or 6 baskets a ball game, solid defense and rebounding.
Here comes Bettenhausen. He will force the issue, pull up and shoot the jumper. And now let's see, is it a 2-point or a 3-point foul? First on Hansel and the 6th team foul. Bettenhausen goes to the line, and he is one of the best on the team at 87%.
And you got to keep these guys off the free throw stripe, Ron. They pointed out to us today that first 2 meetings, SMS has a 62-20 advantage from the stripe.
They have made 62 free throws to only 20 for Illinois State. That's amazing. And in fact, the game at Southwest Missouri, they went to the line 50 times, and Illinois State only went 17 times.
You know, a big part of that is the way Danny Moore plays. Really, to me, Danny Moore, his lack of strength really gets him to the free throw stripe, because when he gets fouled, he really gets fouled, and he doesn't have the strength to go through it.
Muller, that's a great pass as he works the baseline, and he's already in double figures.
I mean, what a cut. And this is a club, again, they play off each other so well. They're experienced. They know how to take away pressure defense with back cuts, and they don't beat themselves, Ron.
Bender was off on the 3-pointer. Chum in the ball game, number 52, a junior from Belgium. And that's going to be an offensive foul called against Rob Gibbons. Second foul on him, 17th foul. Let's take a break. 27-21 Illinois State. 27-21, a championship.
At the top of the screen right here. Now, he's going to take just 1 step higher, and when that ball is swung to the bottom of the screen and set his man up, watch the little step, and then boom, right there, back cut, catch it and finish. Just how you draw it up. That's taking away pressure, folks.
Campbell with the pass inside, got lucky as it came right back to him. 6-point ball game, Illinois State. Bettenhausen feeds it back outside, and a 3 on the way, won't go. And Southwest Missouri garners another long carry. That's the other thing with these stiff rims, some very long rebounds. Bender, 6 for him.
Well, as a result of those long rebounds, those guards for both clubs defensively have to be involved. I mean,
and they really are. Their numbers are higher in this tournament.
Right.
Cartmill. Pearson in the ball game. Good-looking young player. Gibbons squares up to the hoop and hits again. 4 for him.
You know, there's nothing real pretty about that guy's game either, but he's a fifth-year senior, has really bought into what Kevin Stelling's once done on the floor. He had 17, 18 points the last 2 times these clubs met. Just can't find Danny Moore open on that inside, and he's really active working for that ball, but Gibbons is making it tough on him by being physical.
Moore can't get it to go off the glass. The crowd from Southwest Missouri wanted a foul called, and there will be none. So they have really frustrated him.
Well, the scouting report tells you, Ron, on Danny Moore that if you're physical with him early and try to take him out of the game, sometimes he gets his head down a little. He's working pretty hard on the offensive end, but watch, once he catches it, here comes the collapsed defense, and they wall him. That's what Kevin was talking about today when he goes up to shoot. Just get straight like a wall, make him shoot it down over you, and that time he doesn't get the call.
Stringer with the foul. It's his first. The 4th team foul against Southwest Missouri. Well, we just had a report. We've just been told that Fauntleroy has been taken to the hospital because of an abrasion on his eye. On the cornea, I believe, and I'll double check. But anyway, the most important thing here is this is a ball club and Steve Alford doesn't play but about 8 people. This is the 3rd game in 3 days, and they lose his expertise, 133 assists on the season, his leadership, and just everything. So they're playing without one of their aces.
Yeah, and a defensive stopper. I mean, Fauntleroy averaged 7 assists in 2 ball games against Illinois State, so they had trouble containing that guy. Well, they're going to be patient. I mean, you might cover him very well for 20, 25 seconds, but you better be covering him for 30 or 35, or they're going to jump up and hit it on you.
Watkins now with 6, and they did. They ran that shot clock way down, and they have an 8-point margin. This equals their largest lead of the night, or is their largest lead.
The key right now is Danny Moore getting involved in this game from an offensive standpoint.
Oh, way outside, and he blisters it.
Now that will help. That will help Danny Moore get involved in the offense because he can stretch the defense with the best of them.
They're going to have to come out and get him. You're right. He's got 6. Watkins against Moore. Not there, and Moore will come down with the rebound. Moore at the free throw line. Won't go. Hansel lost the handle on it. Condobender. That could be an intentional foul.
Well, it was certainly a hard foul on the ball from behind. Without Jamar Smiley on the floor, nobody gets back for defensive balance, and Condobender just leaks out, and they just kind of bumped him from behind. Don't think Pearson did it intentionally.
And Moore is injured now and is hobbling. He is right in front of the bench. He is going to head to the locker room. Jimmy, could you tell, was it a knee or was it an ankle?
You know, he kind of turned that ankle yesterday in the semis, and then they may be taking him back to retape that thing. I'll tell you what, without Danny Moore and Fauntleroy, you got problems.
under 4 minutes to play in this opening half. 31-27 Illinois State. They won the regular season title. They're trying to do something they haven't done all year, and that's beat Southwest Missouri. Alt battles inside. He'll come down with the rebound. Beckenhausen takes it the distance, and it could have been any one of 3 folks. But I believe Big Leroy Watkins is the guy they're going to call.
Well, that's what Steve Alford wants, though, Ron. I mean, they got that basketball from those defensive boards, and they didn't play around with it. They advanced that thing quickly and took it to the rim. And the more times these guys in the dark uniforms get to the free throw stripe, the better their chances are of winning, huh?
Well, it'll certainly help. They need something to go positive for them because there's been a lot of negative stuff in the last 5 minutes. By the way, they call the foul on Pearson rather than Watkins, and it's the second on Pearson.
You expect a team, look at that, only 56% tonight for SMS. Steve Alford finished his career at Indiana, 4th best free throw shooter in the country.
Southwest Missouri shorthanded.
Fouls now. Steve Alford has to sit him, so this is a very small club for SMS on the floor right now. Expect Illinois State to try to attack it on the inside.
Hill. Beckenhausen. Well, the net is hung, so that's the reason they're going to have to come back down and set. And the Bears of Southwest Missouri, first lead, isn't it? First lead by Southwest Missouri in the ballgame. 32-31. Watkins back to Cartmill. Hill rattles it down. His first 2 points of the half at the 2:35 mark.
Well, he caught it close enough that he just turned and got his shoulder square and shot it over a smaller, quicker defender. Right now, SMS, their tallest guy on the floor, is 6'7", so see what happens in the next few minutes, couple of minutes, as far as Illinois State attacking inside.
Condo Bender. 10 points for him. Ansel. You see the double on Hill. Cartmill is left open, and he'll bomb the free. Can't get it to go. And right now, that double and triple formation that they're using, Jimmy, defensively is working.
Well, if Cartmill can't knock down that open jump shot, then they're going to continue to just converge tougher and tougher on Rico Hill. And Cartmill's capable of shooting, and you see pretty much a sprint right now, not a run by SMS, 12-2.
It looks like that's going to be an offensive foul on Omar Lincoln. 16 foul. It's the first foul on Lincoln. So they're seeing playing some players here that normally don't spend a lot of time on the floor. Like Lincoln is not a guy who plays regular. He's only a freshman.
Well, Steve Alford's had role players, Ron, step up the last 3 weeks of this season to complement Danny Moore and Kevin Alt. That's why they're getting this championship game tonight. Get something different out of everyone. One guy's a defender, one guy's an assist guy. Pretty good mix.
Hill. Now he's got 5. Under a minute to play in this opening half, and the Redbirds go back on top, 36-35.
If that guy continues to improve as a defender, he's going to have a marvelous career in the NBA, and that's his weakness right now. But offensively, he's ready.
Beckenhausen.
could not get it to go. Now the 7 of halftime report. And Priscilla on the set and visiting with the guys tonight. Tournament updates and also the bubble watch. It's coming up next on the 7 of halftime report. Undoubtedly, the retape job on Moore has worked. That thing's gone halfway up his calf on his left leg, but he's back in the ball game because they simply got to have him.
You know, speaking of the bubble watch at halftime, a lot of folks feel like that Illinois State, if they don't win this ball game, they're going to be sitting on that bubble. I happen to think that they're in. I mean, here's a club that dominated this league, Illinois State, finished with a 4-game lead over everyone, and they're very good.
Well, championship week continues with a triple header. This is coming up on Wednesday at the Big East Championships. Georgetown against Miami at 1:30 Eastern. And in Rutgers in West Virginia, 3:30. Boston College against Seton Hall. We'll wrap up the triple header at 9:30 Eastern time. That is the AT&T Big East Championships, and it all begins on Wednesday.
Ron, you look at the 5 losses that this guy has, and early at Wisconsin, they played without Jamar Smiley. Then they go and play at Hawaii without Rico Hill, who is half speed, and Hawaii at the time was playing as good as anybody in the country. I mean, they were knocking off teams like Kansas, and then they lose at Illinois, Chicago. We know those teams there can play. So, in my opinion, if there's 64 teams better than these guys, and this is one heck of a year for college basketball.
Clock is under 10. Cardinal, the ball hit by Bettenhausen. Now they're going to have 4.1 seconds.
The help that came off of Hansel, who's not a shooter, and they win at Cartmill to keep him from getting all the way to the rim.
Hill dishes inside, and they get the layup. Nicely done by Steve Hansel and Rico Hill. And as they head to the locker room, because of nice team play by Rico Hill, they lead it by a couple.
Yeah, high IQ basketball. I mean, watch. Set out of bounds play from the side. They just release a guy to the basket, and they knew all along what they were looking for. That is an experienced, well-coached club, and that's a good example of it.
So Rico Hill has only 5 first-half points, but his teammates step up very nicely. We're at halftime of this Missouri Valley Conference Championship with Illinois State leading by a score of 38-36. Chris, let's go back to you at the studio.
Gritty stuff by the shorthanded Bears team.
This is the 3rd meeting, obviously, Jimmy, this year between the two clubs. It's the first time the Bears have not led at halftime. They led at their place by 14 at halftime. The game in normal, they led by 8. So things are going in Illinois State's favor right now.
It is, and they got the flow of the game slowed down a little bit, Ron. I mean, the earlier meetings, it was in the 40s and 50s, and right now it's in the 30s. And they've done it by taking care of the basketball and taking those high percentage looks. And a couple of guys right now are really standing out. You look at Dan Muller for Illinois State. And on the other end, you got several guys chipping in. But look at Muller. Again, the smart back cut for the easy layup. And then the game became a little scramble situation for a minute, and it freed him up on the outside. Dan Muller having a great night. Important when the ball goes to Moore that you don't stand and watch. This time, Condell-Bender relocates to the corner. They kick it back out, and he gets the thing to drop. And they're being very physical with Danny Moore defensively. Just always having a body on him, not letting him get comfortable, not letting him get into a rhythm. And when he goes to shoot, they wall up on him and make him try to shoot it over. And Danny Moore with only 2 out of 5 from the field in the first half. He's got to get going.
AC Delco first half stats, and this is the way they look. Illinois State 55% from the field, but in 3-point shots now, Southwest Missouri kept themselves in the ballgame, Jimmy. 5 of 10.
Well, that's a club that's capable of shooting about 50-60% from the 3-point line. Another guy stepped up other than Alt. Condell-Bender hit one, Bettenhausen hit one, and that's that team concept that Steve Alford's been so proud of the last month of this season.
Hill with 5 points, Moore with only 4 points. So the two guys we talked about off the top of the telecast have had trouble getting started because of the defenses that they've been facing. Well, Moore is back in the starting lineup to open the second half. 3-pointer on the way, and Bettenhausen off the mark on that one. And if you're just joining us and you're a fan of Southwest Missouri, Fauntleroy with an abrasion to the eye. It's his right eye. It happened against his own teammate as Watkins scores, and he is at the hospital being checked over. There was blood in the eye. Stringer can't get it. Condelbender. Condelbender too hard, can't get it. About to think the rim at this end down here to the left is the stiffest one, Jim. It'll stay with Southwest Missouri as Hill and Watkins were battling over it, and it went off one of them.
Well, interesting, this is the first minute, second half. You watch Danny Moore, now he's screening a lot in the half-court offense. So he's going to try to be a screener first and then step to the basketball instead of just being a one-on-one guy in that low post area. A lot of times that's the best way to free up a guy that can shoot the basketball is use him as a screener to start with.
Alt misses, and then Watkins throws him. That's an intentional foul as Watkins threw down Alt after he tried to get the basketball away from him.
Yeah, and anytime you mention Watkins and Alt in the same sentence, you know that Watkins is going to win the battle. You see him going for the loose ball. And right there, they get tied up. Now watch the takedown. Boom.
In fact, Leroy's very lucky that they didn't ask him to sit down.
I mean, because he really went at Kevin Alt. This is the guy that's probably going to step up there and make him pay for it. Tremendous free throw shooter.
Because of the intentional foul, Southwest Missouri State gets possession of the ball.
Well, couldn't get it in. It takes the timeout.
Missouri State, it's a 20-second timeout.
Ron, you know what happened here? SMS, they start moving, they start to play before the official ever hands the ball. So now, when the guy out of bounds does get it, the guys have already broken and they're open, and as a result, they have to take a timeout. I mean, you've got to wait, you've got to be patient, and you've got to read. As soon as the official hands the ball, boom, then you start your play, and SMS just broke too early, and it cost them a timeout.
Steve Alford's ball club started 6-12, and now they have won 12 of their last 15 ball games.
Well, he had some tough ones in that first 12-game stretch, too. You talk about teams like Texas Christian and Clemson and Mississippi State. Had a tough loss at Idaho, and over Christmas they play Indiana and North Carolina Charlotte, so he was getting his team ready for conference play, and it paid off.
3 turnovers each. Costly mistake right there, and inside Hill can't get it to go. Inside to Moore. They get the double on him, and he misses the shot, and then is guilty of the foul. Moore has not been to the free throw line tonight, has he?
No, and that's a big part of his game. He gets there 8 or 9 times a ball game, and again, I think his lack of strength is what gets him there, because just a little bit of contact on this guy, and he kind of starts flying around. The ball explodes in his hands.
And he's an 84% free throw shooter, so you really don't want him there. Hand shot. Jump ball. Arrow says it'll stay right there.
Defensively, when you go to help against Illinois State, you cannot lose sight of the man you're assigned to, because they're well schooled at cutting to that basket. If you do, you've got to always keep that ball-you-man relationship, even when you're the help defender.
Jamar Smiley got a little anxious on that alley-oop, threw it away. Two-point game. Just over 17 minutes to play for the championship of the Missouri Valley Conference from the Kiel Center in St. Louis, Missouri.
Moore. Boy, you can see 3 men around him, and the three-pointer, Condobender, is off the mark. Moore picks up the foul as they are really working on him inside, and that's 3 on Moore.
Ron Kevin Stallings told us, he said, we're going to make Danny Moore a defender tonight. We're going to go at him. One way to take a guy out of his offensive game, and Mr. Watkins right now is doing it.
John Paul Nelson about to check back into the ballgame as Watkins sinks the first one. And Moore will have to go to the bench.
Tell you what I like about Leroy Watkins at the free throw stripe. He's a score before you ever catch the ball type guy because of great positioning. Again, you look at that width across his backside. He gets it on you. Takes about a day and a half to get around him. Gets a lot of easy looks in the paint.
Leroy's got 10 points, and it's a 4-point Illinois State lead. Stringer, as Southwest Missouri gets the loose ball, and it's 4 points for him. Watkins, Smiley with a great assist.
And that guy just triggers things. I mean, it's a little set play call from their secondary break system and threw it right to the left side of that rim for the easy finish.
Nelson. John Paul Nelson with 4. Alt steps up trying to get in front of Muller, and he gets the foul. It's his second.
Watch the pass again from Jamar Smiley. I mean, you're going to see Watkins set a little screen, and then he gets screened. That's a screen, the screener play, and it frees Watkins up then to roll to that rim. And again, that secondary break, it comes out of the Kansas system that Kevin Stallings was under, but he's got his thumbprint on it where they get 5 or 6 different looks out of it, and that was one of them.
Watkins gets a rest, and Rob Gibbons checks into the lineup for Illinois State. Rico Hill tipped away, and here comes Bettenhausen. Offensive foul on Condobender. In close, it's a 2-point ball game. Championship week continues, and this will be later tonight. West Coast Conference Final, Gonzaga against San Francisco. That one at midnight Eastern time. You know, Jim, we talked about the rims and being a little bit stiff, and I told you I thought this one here to our left, which is the one for Southwest Missouri in his half, I think is the stiffer of the two. They're only 2 of 10 in this half, 20%.
Kevin Stallings, again, he said, I don't think a team can win in here. They rely on those perimeter shots because of it.
Rico Hill, as Nelson got taken down by Gibbons. The nice feed inside, and foul against Rico Hill.
Illinois State foul, Rico Hill. His second, number 2 on record. At the line for Southwest Missouri State, number 5.
David Hill.
He has 2 shots.
David Hall, rather, the official, going in and talking with both Gibbons and John Paul Nelson just before the free throw was shot. They both went to the floor. It was a takedown on both parts. Hill is going to come out, and a big guy, Leroy Watkins, will check in. So an even bigger lineup for Illinois State right now.
And Watkins with 6 points in the first half and already 6 in the second half. His width becoming a bigger factor in this ball game than anyone else's height. You watch him work down in that low block area. He's patient. And he works off screens and gets those angles on you.
Cartmill not there. That's Stringer with the rebound for Southwest Missouri. And the lob way too high. Bender would have had to be about 7'6" to catch that one.
With good ups. You know, Steve Alford told me, he said, Jimmy, I still have never recruited a kid that I cannot beat in a horse game. Isn't that something? I believe him.
Three-pointer on the way, and it's there. Dan Muller. 13 points for him. Says, I'm going to make sure this one goes down. He's got 6.
How about the wraparound pass from Nelson? And he felt the defense converge on him and had the instincts to know where his buddy was.
Very nicely done for the 7-footer.
He just slammed it into Cartmill's chest from about 5 feet. Wow. Cartmill is talking to him right now. That was a missile.
He's talking to him in high-pitched voice, too. Wow. Ease up, big fella.
Gibbons fouled by Condobender. That's 3 on Condobender. It is the 5th team foul.
Here's a guy that plays with a lot of emotion on between the lines, and then when he steps away, he's got a lot of other interests. He wants to be a writer, a novelist on his completion at Illinois State. He's not your perfect example of a major college basketball player, but he's effective.
Them both to fall. Moore has come back into the lineup. That left ankle heavily taped.
Got a zone now by Illinois State. It's a 2-3. They'll kind of rotate up sometimes with the big guys, and you can get shots from that corner area just like that from Condobender.
12 points for him. And at the other end, Cartmill out of control. Nelson grabs down a rebound, and here come the Bears. Travel on Smiley.
Kevin Starling's made an interesting point today, Ron. He talked about, he said, scheduling for me is a whole lot more difficult than recruiting. I mean, that's where he's gotten this Illinois State program level at. I mean, they don't return phone calls when the message says, please call Illinois State regarding scheduling. And I've been the assistant in charge of scheduling before at Kentucky and Oklahoma State, and I know what he's talking about.
Very difficult on schools like this that play so well. Hard to get those non-conference games to come to your place. Condobender.
Yeah, and then people talk about no top 25 wins. Well, the problem is he can't get a top 25 team on his schedule unless he goes to their place.
Nelson picks up the foul. That's number 3 on John Paul. I heard Fang, the coach from Coppin State, say in a radio interview that I think
it's been at least 2 years since they have had a non-conference game at home because they can't get anybody to come to their place and play. He said, I could play a 1AA team, but that doesn't help me get to the tournament. A lot of schools are faced with that kind of situation.
I mean, you look at schools like Detroit Mercy. We had them last year, a very talented club. Murray State. I mean, there's another example of teams that, not a great name, but you're in the coaching ranks, you know to stay away from them.
2-pointer by Stringer. He's got 8. Yeah, and and wisely so. I mean, they're good clubs.
Right.
But Michigan was beaten by a team in this league this year.
There's some quality wins. Iowa State was knocked off out of the Big 12, and this is a league that I've been involved in several times throughout this season, and they've got very, very solid coaching. They've got talent that's better than people realize, and some tough places to go and play on the road. I mean, Illinois State, SMS, Bradley is a very difficult place. Dana Altman's place up at Creighton is becoming tougher and tougher. Good basketball league.
Moore with the block, and he's called for the foul. That's 4 fouls on him.
Tell you what, Rob Gibbons now, he's getting a lot of things done. You look at number 35 there at the bottom of your screen. First of all, as soon as that shot goes, he actually gets inside position. He boxes off, and that's what gets him the offensive rebound into the free throw stripe. He's an active guy, and that's a huge foul on Danny Moore. Again, he had 17 points the last time these two clubs met. Look at that. That's the strength of this club is Danny Moore, and he sets down with 4 fouls and 8 points.
Well, Moore is becoming a thing of consistency at the line. He has hit his last 4, and he has 9 points as we have 12 minutes left in this Missouri Valley Conference Championship. Oh, finger roll, not there. Rico Hill. Second timeout called by Southwest Missouri. 6-point ball game, 54-48, and Steve Alford was very, very displeased with the fact that Alt was not sent to the free throw line on his drive just a moment ago.
Yeah, because that's a big part of his offense is guys, again, making that little sweep move when they get that basketball and then attacking the rim. But a beautiful secondary break out of Illinois State.
Rico Hill just scored. We were over 8 minutes into the second half before he tallied. We were over 12 minutes into the first half before he scored in the first half of the ball game.
You know what, though, Ron? This is a club that doesn't bother Rico Hill. They're very patient, and they understand, hey, you take away one strength, we're going to get you in another area. And as a coach preparing for a game, you decide, what am I going to take away and what am I going to give up? You take away Rico Hill, they're going to get you somewhere else.
Alt accidentally kicked that ball. It almost went all the way to the sideline. Stolen. Here comes Cartmill. Throws it away, and here's Alt. Off to Stringer. That's the third foul on Rico Hill.
His third, number 3 for Redbirds. At the line for Southwest Missouri State, Ben Stringer. 2 shots.
I was just looking at Bettenhausen and Alt standing back at midcourt as the free throws are being shot. And Alt particularly complaining to Bettenhausen that he's just tired. 3 games in 3 days, and with Fauntleroy going down, those two guys are really having to play a lot tonight.
Yeah, and both of them are kind of slight of build. Right now, they got to go another 11 minutes, though, full speed.
This is Imagine TV.
What's this? Of those leads.
Look at Illinois State and their resume. Those are some quality losses at Wisconsin and at Illinois, Chicago, and Hawaii early in the year when they were really playing well. And talk about quality wins. You run through your conference like these guys did when teams are prepared for you and they know your strengths and weaknesses. To me, that's a sign of a very good club.
Southwest Missouri trailed at halftime, as we mentioned. First time in the 3 meetings this year that they trailed at halftime. And in fact, in the game at Southwest Missouri, they led by as many as 18. The game played at normal, they led by as many as 15 points. But they have not been able to achieve that tonight. 4 times they've led by 1. Gibbons, great play off the inbounds pass.
Now there's an example of a new out-of-bounds play that gets you 2 points at a critical time. I mean, this is the time of the year where coaches start putting in just a couple of special different things. And that time it gets Gibbons an easy basket.
He's got 7 points this half. Kondelbender gets the 2 points. 14 for him. Watkins against Nelson. Not there. Gibbons with the tip and loses it out of bounds.
What's the out-of-bounds play? Gibbons is going to start at the top elbow and just gets a little screen. Boom, slips inside. Easy 2 points. That's a new look out of the Redbirds and gets him a basket.
Jim, I'm just looking at all 3 games in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. Gibbons is 8 of 9 from the field.
Well, the reason why that's all he shoots is that 4th grade layup type shot.
That's exactly right. Kondelbender loses it, and they're going to call travel.
You know, Kevin Stallings, look at what he's done. He's taken a little bit from what he learned from Gene Cady, a little bit from Roy Williams, and then got half of his other stuff from his own resume of tapes. And I like what they do. I like what Steve Alford does as well, but 2 clubs aren't easy to play against.
9.5 minutes left in this championship game. Leroy Watkins with a turnaround, not there.
I like the defense of Nelson on Watkins because he's 7 feet tall, and the way you beat Watkins is you force him to shoot shots over the top of you. Stay after it.
Nelson.
Right, here's what I'm talking about. Watch the pass go inside to Watkins, and then the defense of John Paul Nelson at 7 feet. Keeps his body wide, gets a hands up, challenges the shot, and then cleans up the board. And again, Watkins is not going to beat you by shooting over the top of the defense. He's going to pin you, show a target hand, and get an easy 2 if you let him.
That is 3 fouls on Gibbons. Hill will come back into the lineup. Also number 15, Jamar Smiley. So Gibbons goes out, and Cartmill will go out.
And how important is this guy? I mean, without him on this team and Danny Moore sitting with 4 fouls, Illinois State, I think they do a lot of damage inside over these last 3 or 4 minutes, you know?
Muller just stayed with it, drove it all the way to the hoop, up and over. 15 for him. Alt couldn't get it back. Nelson, now Bettenhausen. Kondelbender feeds it off to Nelson, and he gets fouled by Watkins. Kondelbender feeds it off to Nelson, and he gets fouled by Watkins.
Ron, I watched John Paul Nelson play in high school, and the thing that stood out the most is his ability to catch the basketball on difficult passes. Now watch this one. It's fired at him pretty quick for a 7-footer, but gets that thing and then powers it up, keeps his head up. Great soft pause on that guy from West Fork, Arkansas.
Half a dozen for him now to go with his 7 rebounds. And Southwest Missouri staying close, hanging around. It is a 4-point game, about to go under 8 minutes to play. Muller for 3. Watkins with the bounce pass to Hadsel. Leroy gets the rebound and hits the follow.
Now he can hit that shot. He's got that little jump hook, which enables him to get his shot off over taller defenders. He's better off shooting that than he is trying to square his shoulders up.
I was surprised they didn't call the 3-second violation. Bettenhausen telegraphed that pass. Jamar Smiley. Steve Alford wants a timeout. 7:38 to play in the ball game, and it is a 62-58 lead by Southwest Missouri, equaling their largest lead of the night. We'll be right back.
Ron, watch the mistake made by Bettenhausen. He tries to float a pass inside, and he doesn't read that weak side defense. Smiley steps in, takes it from one end to the other, and finishes. 2 mistakes. You can't float the pass, and you've got to see what's behind the guy you're trying to throw it to.
Bettenhausen for 3.
3 points, Ryan Bettenhausen.
Now he's got double figures with 10.
SMS guards really no factor in the second half for that basket.
With Moore back in the ball game, Watkins is going to be able to have that all night because he can't contest him now with 4 fouls.
Yeah, they just went right at Danny Moore, and Watkins has the strength again to get that backside on Danny and catch it about 4 or 5 feet and turn and score.
Moore feeds to Condobender. He gets the easy layup. Condobender with 16. Nope, there they go right back to Big Leroy. Watkins with 18 points. Moore still does not have a point from in the paint, so to speak. All of his points came on those 2 setup outside jump shots. Jim.
Well, a couple of things now. He's having to play defense with 4 fouls, so that's got him flustered a little bit. Plus, he's got the bad ankle. Just like that time, Watkins just went right around him. But through it all, SMS is still just down 7 points, but you can't do that.
Watkins goes out of the ball game to get a breather to a standing ovation for the folks from Illinois State. As we mentioned, 11 busloads came down from Normal. It's a 2.5-hour ride. As you look at the numbers, Watkins now with 18.
Look at that ball movement. I mean, they're reversing that thing around and finding open people. And
Gibbons taking it right at Moore. Redbird fans thought that Moore should have just picked up his 5th foul. The officials did agree.
only 10 on the shot clock, so Illinois State is pretty experienced. They recognize things like that. I don't think they'll get caught. Oh, my.
Gibbons has 13, and they certainly have not been unlucky.
He's having fun playing this game right now, I'm telling you that.
Two unlikely heroes in this game so far for Illinois State.
You know, Kevin kind of tipped us off this morning, Ron, when he said Gibbons is capable because he's the type of guy that just gets the ball and takes it right to the basket, right at Danny Moore, right at John Paul Nelson. And
Hansel passes up to 3, pulls up from 6 feet and buries it. The other thing that he tipped us on was, he says, Southwest Missouri has got a great knack for making you play their tempo. He said, we're not going to run down the floor and take haphazard quick shots. And they have not. We'll take a break. 70-59, largest lead of the night. State 70-59.
watch the attention that Rico Hill gets. SMS is in his zone defense, and he kind of steps to the middle, draws the attention of Moore with him, and that frees Gibbons up on the baseline. There's a guy tonight with 14 points. His career high is 17, and he established that the last 2 times these 2 clubs met.
Well, he's got, what, 9-7 off the bench this half.
Big guy, 90% from the field, Ron, in this tournament. 9 out of 10 from the field.
Look what they've done with their big people inside. 31-10, the difference. So Southwest Missouri is going to make it 3-0 over Illinois State this year. They got to make miracles happen in just over 4 minutes as Alt throws that pass too hard and too high. And it's another turnover against the Bears.
Well, they extend their defense for the first time tonight. Obviously trying to get a quick turnover and speed the game up. They got it.
It'll go back to Southwest Missouri as Rico Hill picked up the dribble and got caught. Smiley with the blocking foul. 3rd foul on him. Only the 4th team foul, though. Bettenhausen on the inbounds pass. And who did the block? Who else? Gibbons has just been playing out of his mind.
Look at Bettenhausen catch it. I mean, he didn't jump real high. Bettenhausen is only 5'10", so.
Throw it away, and Hansel is fouled. Headed toward the hoop, and it'll be Kondelbender who picks up his 2nd.
You know, Ron, you start talking about Illinois State and how well they run their offense and their patience, and you forget about the job they do on the defensive end. And this is the club that held Wichita State to 33% shooting for the game in this tournament, and right now SMS only shooting 32% in the second half, so they understand how to play at both ends.
Nine points for Hansel, trying to go into double figures. Southwest Missouri has 8 second-half turnovers.
That's another sign of that Illinois State defense. I mean, impressed with their ability to converge on the basketball and then recover the shooters on the perimeter with pretty good quickness. I don't think this is an exceptionally quick team, but they're reacting well tonight.
Moore, Kondelbender with the foul over the back. His 3rd. Well, it's not a smile, but in 3 minutes and 29 seconds it will be. And I think that Kevin Stallings knows that this thing is well in hand at this late juncture. 72-59, his team leading. Doug Collins, former Illinois State player. And I can tell you, he is as or more excited than anybody here And as he said today, and you love hearing it coming from an alumnus like him, he said, they're the ones that gave me an opportunity at 6'2", 155 pounds to play basketball. And he said, but basketball's been my life, so why not be a giant supporter of this school?
I mean, he made the most of his opportunity, and he has stayed very involved with Illinois State on graduation from that campus. You know, and they're doing this again without Schaefbauer, who is the best three-point shooter that Illinois State had throughout the year.
Way outside with the three. Combo Bender can't get it to go. Smiley gets the carry. Earlier today, Jimmy, this was really an emotional scene. Schaefbauer, who broke his leg day before yesterday and had to have surgery, and his teammates didn't know that he was going to come to the locker room, and it was an emotional scene here underneath the Kiel Center tonight as they rolled him in, and he got an opportunity to say a word to his teammates and wish them well tonight.
Yeah, he's watching in the back room, and I know that he's awfully proud of his teammates. And this is a close-knit group. They've been together as an experienced club. They've been together the last 2 or 3 seasons, and there were a lot of expectations placed on these guys early. Played with a lot of pressure. They were the marked team from day one, and right now they're playing awfully well.
Chamba knocks down the three-pointer. It's his first points of the night. We're about to go into 3 minutes to play at a 14-point lead, and here's a turnover against Illinois State. Stringer. That brings it to 12. Hansel. You know, he's had a really nice performance tonight. 14 points. It's come in spaces where when they need him, fine, but he is a great example of the team players that this ball club has, Jimmy.
Well, again, he's the guy that does the most. Oh, my goodness. Hansel does the most for Kevin Stallings game in and game out as far as a little bit of everything.
Butch Chamba picks up the foul. It's his first. I have a feeling that everybody on that bench over there right in front of him breathed a sigh of relief when they looked at. He's still stretching that hand out. He went down hard on the wrist.
Yeah, because now you start looking ahead to that NCAA tournament. And again, without Schaefbauer, this club goes from 9 guys deep to about 8. And he's awfully important because his perimeter shot is a real key to stretch that defense and get those big guys involved. And tonight, that's exactly what happened.
All blocked by Hansel, but also fouled by Hansel.
Ron, you're right about this guy, Hansel. Now he's got 14 points. His career high is 15. He had that against Creighton this year.
It's been almost like whatever they needed, he would be there to get it done. Very solid at both ends of the floor. Cardmill will come back into the lineup, and Gibbons will go to the bench, and he'll get a listen to this ovation. They're standing. Look at this scoring. Watkins with 18. Gibbons, who just went out 13, 17. And who's missing? Rico Hill. So it shows, Jimmy, just what you said, as Rico scores on the layup, that even without him and the great defensive job on him, that everybody else stepped up.
Well, now that's, to me, the combination for winning conference championships and national championships. If you can win with your strength on the bench, Illinois State's done that tonight. I mean, Rico Hill hasn't had a great ball game. You can win through injuries. They've done it without Schaefbauer. You've got a great team, and this is one of them.
Smiley. A minute 23 left in this championship, and they're about to unload the bench. The team that Illinois State has not been able to conquer this basketball season, it's about to happen. They lost the 2 in the regular season. Last year they won the championship 75-72, but this year they lost 89-81 at home and 97-89. Actually, Southwest Missouri won that one 89-81 and then 97-89 in the other one. And here come those starters out, and again, more standing ovations.
Well, they really executed. I mean, they took SMS out of their game and took away the three-point ability that Steve Alford can put on the floor. That's why you look at teams like Duke and Kansas and Carolina, Arizona, Utah even, man, they've got a real shot at it because they can win playing either style. You slow them down or speed them up, they can still win. You get a guy in foul trouble on the bench, they got the depth to offset it. Kind of what Illinois State's done in this league.
Butch Chamo with the reach in, and that's his second foul.
You know, Steve told me a couple of weeks ago that he's learned more this year, Ron, than at any time in his coaching career. I mean, the expectations on his club to finish second in the league, and then they kind of stumbled coming out of the gate with a tough schedule. And he said, you know, Jimmy, I'm still a young coach myself, and I'm learning a lot. He's surrounded by some experience on the bench with his father, but he's the guy in charge. He's making all the decisions, and every great coach, I think, can look back on their career and say, I learned so much during that season. This, I think, will be the season for Steve Alford.
Reader gets the 2 points and under 1 minute to play. 84-70. Illinois State about to head to the NCAA tournament for the second year in a row. Kobe gets the steal and the jam.
Ronnie, you know what? It's a great win for Illinois State. They advance to the tournament, but on the other hand, Kevin Stallings' phone is going to start ringing.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a guy he's ready to get it done just about anywhere in the country.
Kobe gets the bounce pass and scores with 2.6 seconds left, and this one is history. It is a 10-point conference championship game win for Illinois State, and they are coming out of the stands here at the Kiel Center.
Madness in St. Louis just translated into March Madness for those folks from Illinois State. The PA guy is telling them to stay off the floor. That ain't gonna work.
Well, our final score is Illinois State 84 and Southwest Missouri 74, and they advance with the victory here in the conference championship game to the NCAA tournament. For Jimmy Dykes, this is Ron Franklin saying so long from St. Louis. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Sports Center is coming up next.
ESPN's presentation of Championship Week is presented by 7-Up. 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler invite you to try the crisp new taste of 7-Up.